The WWF, what the world is watching. Turn it on and rip the knob off.
Guys, and welcome back to the Wrestling Memory Grenade, episode 186. I am Ray Russell, and this week we tackle the March 11th, 1989 edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. The 20th installment. I can't believe we've made it this far already, heading on that road to WrestleMania V. Now this week we're going to do what we normally do here on the Grenade, break down the show from beginning to end, SNME, going back to March of 89. Just a few weeks out from WrestleMania. But as we kick off this week's episode, we did something very similar on the Patreon side of things with John Poz of the two-man Power Trip Empire, the Poz Man Cometh. Poz Man joining me for a long-form watch-along of this particular episode. You guys can go check that out right now. Part of the Ultimate tier over there at patreon.com/WrestleCopia. But at the very beginning of that conversation, we spent 20-30 minutes just discussing the road to WrestleMania 5 specifically, the implosion and the explosion of the mega powers, Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. We talked a little bit about some of the undercard stuff as well. And I'm going to take you guys right now, going back in time, before we get to Saturday night's main event here. We'll be discussing it in long form, as we usually do. But hang tight, guys, because we're kicking off this week's episode with a very special conversation that I had with John Poz over there at Patreon about his thoughts and memories leading into the big event where the mega powers explode. I'll see you guys on the other side. Hey guys, welcome back to the big ones right here, part of the Ultimate tier, patreon.com/WrestleCopia. Another fun one. We're getting ready as we continue on the Grenade Show on the podcast side of the world. Over here, we're having some fun with John Poz, the leader, the inventor, the creator of the two-man Power Trip Empire. Welcome back, John. We love having you, man.
Thank you for having me back. I love it. We look like twins right now. Do you realize that? We're looking a lot alike, yeah.
Well, that was what I went away for a while so that I could try to reinvent myself. But then I said, why reinvent myself when I can just, often imitated, never duplicated, though, is John Poz, as Captain Lou would say quite often. So it's good to have you back, man. I know we've done a lot of Monday Warfare recently, but it's great to have you part of the big ones. We're going to be covering Saturday night's main event here, March 11th, 1989, in just a little bit. But we're 3 weeks out at this point from WrestleMania V. The mega powers explode. And John, that was the true reason I got you on this episode, because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this era. I know we're both very fond of this entire Hulkamania era, the Hogan era, if you will. See what I did there? And but this is, I don't know if it peaks anywhere else, but right here at WrestleMania V, certainly we talked about it in the past on your show, as well as just offline as well. We've talked about Savage and Hogan, the buy rate, and what WrestleMania 5 is. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to let you take it wherever you want in regards to the feud between the Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, the Mega Powers. I like to say they imploded at the main event and they will explode at WrestleMania 5. But I got to talk to you. I don't even know why I'm asking you this question, but whose side were you on? And just take me back to, early memories, early childhood John Poz.
When you look at it, it's like, okay, Hogan, Andre, nothing's going to get bigger than this. This is the biggest thing we're going to experience. Not even close to Hogan Savage, to me anyway, which is crazy to even think about or say, but Hogan and Savage eclipsed it. The feud itself is, to me, you could say, argue if it's longer or not, but to me, longer, better, more lucrative, led to a better crescendo, if you will. I was just obviously a huge Hulkamaniac. When Savage turned on him and turned his back on him, I thought he was nuts. I really didn't see the lust in Hogan's eyes. I really thought it was Savage being extra paranoid and just a nut job. But to me, I was like, man, I can't believe Macho Man would do that to his friend and just leave him out there by himself. And what the hell? Like, what is up with this guy? But then Hogan kind of does the same thing to Macho. When you look back, it's like Hogan left Macho by himself too, and like it's kind of a little bit of tit for tat. So when like you go back and look at it, it's like, all right, maybe Hogan wasn't 100% in the right this whole time. He did technically eliminate him from the 1989 Royal Rumble, which you could say he was eliminating Bad News, who obviously was a part of that huge feud with Savage and Hogan, which I love.
Yeah.
Well, middling feud, if you will, like the bridge feud to get to get to Hogan Savage. But you needed a guy to help you get there, and waste time, if you will, but not really waste time. You know what I mean? Like a guy that can just be believable. Yeah, competent, believable. But it's like, okay, you set it up. You have them teaming up for all along. Savage, a little bit of an inkling. SummerSlam is a little something off there at SummerSlam '88. A little bit something off there at Survivor Series '88. Something a lot off at Rumble '89, and then obviously Saturday Night's Main Event just completely set it off. But you think about it, it's like, was Savage in the right? When I was a kid, obviously 100% he was in the wrong. What is he nuts? What is he thinking about? Why is he assuming this? And then as you grow up and you start rewatching it 100 times, you're like really feeding into it. You're like, wait a second here. I think Savage kind of maybe sort of has a point or might be onto something here. And Hogan did eliminate him from the Royal Rumble, like kind of stupidly. Wouldn't you just relax, stop, take Bad News and dump them out instead of just hurrying over there and throwing them both out? Like, come on, Hulk, what were you doing? But to me, once Savage gets knocked into Elizabeth and Hogan is kind of tending to her, not Macho, and Macho's more concerned about the match. Come on, technically speaking, they did sign for a tag match. We should be leaving the match. It was a lot to kind of go through, but it was awesome. One of the best feuds ever, one of the best build-ups ever. From the fact that they're the mega powers to WrestleMania 8, well, a little bit before that, but WrestleMania 4, they started being the mega powers. Almost, you could say a little bit before that, when they tease it in late '87. Then they start really, handshake and coming together. But when WrestleMania 4 happens, you could never foresee that it was going to go that bad for WrestleMania 5. When I was a kid, so I'm thinking they're buddies, they're friends now. Hogan won't help them win the title. Like, this is all good. And to see that storyline arc of one full year in the same venue, and you go back to WrestleMania 5 and it explodes. Unbelievable. Probably, if you want to say top 5, top 3, maybe top 1 storyline ever in WWF history.
Obviously, the storyline, I was just thinking about that earlier, and it goes back to subjectivity. I mean, people have their own favorite things, but I don't know if there was ever another storyline before this or after this that it was ever done so intricately, like the care that they used and the thought process and the little nuances and the things that even the obvious things were the hand on the butt or the look that Savage gave Hogan at the end of Survivor Series or the elimination at the Royal Rumble. Those were kind of obvious. And if they weren't, Jesse Ventura made them obvious. Yeah. But it was the little things that you don't even really notice until Hogan and Savage start doing the my side of the story, and they go back and they can add the little extra things in there. There you are holding the ropes open for her. That's not her, that's not their job. And Hogan, I was just doing what you would have done, man. But you're not the Macho Man. That is his woman. You've made that clear, Hulk. On the Brother Love show, you said you love Hogan or Savage like a brother, and you love Elizabeth not the way Savage and Liz love each other, which would imply that, they're together. I love her like a sister, so says Hulk Hogan. But Savage, even though, and I will openly admit that he doctored some of that footage into my side, but it all starts, the very first clip that he shows is Hulk Hogan helping Elizabeth onto the shoulder of Savage by holding her by her left butt cheek. And I got to ask all the gentlemen out there now, would that fly with you, having that beautiful, lovely Elizabeth there and your buddies, I was just holding her up for you, brother, keeping her balanced, dude. Like Randy Savage couldn't handle that. So, but the story, it was great. It was amazing. And it comes right off the Hogan Andre storytelling, which was tremendous in itself for what it was. And I just recently was reading those observers from March of '89 heading into WrestleMania. And Dave Meltzer had speculated. He said, this is going to be a huge event, but it's not going to do the numbers that WrestleMania 3 did. Even though the cable market's bigger, the pay-per-view market was oversaturated. So Dave didn't think at the end of the day that they were going to do as well in the pay-per-view, even though they had more markets, simply because there's just more stuff to do. And I think,
imagine if it was global buys and not, not just North America. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about like, John Cena versus The Rock. Like, well, obviously The Rock, he's the reason why that drew so well. But it's like, we wouldn't even be discussing that. Or Trump at WrestleMania 23. Like, we wouldn't even be discussing that if Hogan Savage had the global numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to WrestleMania, say 17, X7, you know, some of the big shows that they did later that were global, and obviously many decades since that time. I feel old thinking like that, but
yeah, I know.
No, going back during this time period, there was nothing bigger than Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. There were family members and kids at school that didn't follow wrestling, but they knew of the Mega Powers storyline. They knew that Hogan and Savage were feuding over this lady named Elizabeth. They knew their names, and so people argue today, oh, Roman Reigns is a household name. You don't know what a household name is. Hulk Hogan was a household name. I dare say Macho Man. Well, I think that came later with the Slim Jim era, and it was kind of even more expounded upon. But even in the 80s, people that knew of wrestling knew who the Macho Man was. They knew who Hulk Hogan was. They know they were friends. They know they're enemies. They know they're fighting over this beautiful woman named Elizabeth. This was as big time as you got going into WrestleMania 5. Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man. And John, I don't have to tell you, for as much as on the side of Hulk Hogan you were, you know that I was on the side of the Macho Man. And even though I saw the Paul Orndorff stuff at 6 years old, and even though I saw the Andre stuff going on 7 years old, I saw the Savage stuff. I didn't understand necessarily the butt grab stuff and things like that. I'm going on 9. But I understood that this was Macho Man, this was Elizabeth, and I just felt like Hulk Hogan was wrong. And I'm with you, okay, because I watched Hogan accidentally throw out the Ultimate Warrior a year later, the same way he accidentally threw out Randy Savage. So now you got to start going, are these really a lot of coincidences? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love how smart that is, though. Of I guess Pat Patterson most likely is the one book and then put together. I love how smart that is. It's like, we're gonna make it like accidental. You're the big babyface, but accidentally eliminating, your biggest rival who is supposedly, a good guy. It to me, genius, brilliant stuff. I loved it. But again, like when you're so little in it as a kid, it flies right over my head. Right. It's like, come on, it was an accident. Come on.
Well, the seeds were planted. Jesse Ventura does that Coliseum video exclusive with Randy Savage at the end of Survivor Series. And even though Savage gave the looks, and I saw that, even at 8 years old, I saw the look. I go, oh shit. And even though Jesse Ventura, if you didn't understand it, Jesse Ventura doing the interview with Savage after the fact, and you could tell the Macho Man's denying it and things of that nature, but go back and listen now as an adult and some of the things Randy's saying. I was the sole survivor. I beat him on my own. Hulk Hogan was also, you couldn't have been the sole survivor, but it was like as if Hogan wasn't there, and it was just amazing storytelling. Yep. You saw it coming, but it was the rumble, the slap across the face and the point, the finger in the face, and Liz coming out to, come on, boys, let's cooler heads prevail. And then Hogan would go on to say, I saw the jealousy, Randy, but I let it go for the, the bigger thing, which was supposed to be the Mega Powers. But here we are.
Think about it, though. Royal Rumble 89, the Twin Towers are double teaming Hogan. Why didn't Savage come back out and help him? Think about that. Come on.
Well, he was eliminated. He was following the rules, John. Unlike Hulk Hogan, who eliminates the Big Boss Man after he's already. Well, that's another story for another day. I was a huge Boss Man fan, so I was just. That was the night, I think, that I just I did not like Hulk Hogan before that, but I didn't dislike. It was like, there's Hulk Hogan. I think Royal Rumble 89 was the night I go, fuck this guy. Or,
then Boss Man eliminates him and Hakeem eliminate Hogan, though. I mean, that's not right.
It was fair. That was fair.
Yeah,
it's they were legal. They were legal. It was okay. Yeah. Well, no, but we'll move away from the Twin Towers for the moment. We're going to go back to the Mega Powers, though. We'll flash forward to WrestleMania 5. We're going to learn tonight right here on Saturday night's main event whose corner the lovely Miss Elizabeth will be in. So that's going to be very interesting. She's been with the Macho Man since day one, since he introduced her, brought her down that aisle, looked past all the other managers and said, this is my valet, this is my woman, this is Elizabeth, and she's going to be in my corner from 1985 here to 1989 at this point in time. But Hulk Hogan comes in, and he kind of just adopts Elizabeth into his shtick when it's necessary. And so she's with him during the big ones, the pay-per-views, the Saturday night's main events. She's been there as of late with the Hulkster as well. So she's technically the manager of both men at this point in time. So it's going to be interesting to see which way she goes tonight. But I'm going to move past that because we don't want to spoil something that happened nearly 40 years ago right now. But
can't do that.
But I want to take you to WrestleMania 5. Was that a pay-per-view you were able to watch as it happened? Did you have to wait for Coliseum video? What were your feelings that night?
So awesomely enough, my friend who lived across the street, he was a huge fan. His cousins were big fans, but his grandfather also was into it. So we went down to, I guess it would be the Jersey Shore, if you will, Manahawkin over by Long Beach Island. And basically, the grandfather ordered it. So we spent a nice little vacation there, so to speak.
Okay.
It's with, I don't even know why we were like off at this point. I don't even know if we were really off. My mom was just like, screw it. Let's just go to, let's go to his grandfather's house and hang out. So that's where we watched it.
Very cool.
Awesome stuff. I remember his grandfather was like, kind of like wanting to, not necessarily who wins and loses, but like kind of wanted to find out who wins and loses. Like not necessarily rooting for somebody, but like was very interested to see what's going to happen.
I feel like, as I mentioned before with WrestleMania 5 or Hogan and Savage kind of being household names to some degree, or the storyline to even the common fans just flipping the channels and things like that. I feel like that was part of the buy rate too, because that was people that weren't necessarily wrestling fans. They're going, but I want to see how this one plays out.
Yeah.
This is the story I want to watch. So it wasn't about the Blue Blazer and Kurt Hennig. It wasn't about the Rockers and the Twin Towers. It was just get me to this main event. Maybe they had, a party that night, not a wrestling party, but maybe they had some people over there having beers and let's get together and get this wrestling pay-per-view. And maybe they pointed and laughed at the undercard. I'm not saying they were wrestling fans per se, but I feel like that was part of the buy rate as well. It was just, let's see this story. I want to see the end of the story. Little did they know there was more to the story, but I want to see how this plays out.
And it became almost a yearly occurrence. We would go down there with his grandfather and watch WrestleMania.
Oh, wow.
Because we did it for 1990 too. Yeah. And of course the Warrior, forget about it. Me and my buddy, my brother didn't even care, but my buddy was really upset. So was I that Warrior lost. And like my buddy's grandfather was like, what's going on, guys? Get over it. Come on. But he never told us to, like, guys, come on. It's not, not legitimate here. Right. He didn't really, he didn't break that news to us, but it was so cool that like he was actually like into, again, the finish. He wanted to know who's going to win.
Well, you guys got lucky. My grandfather couldn't spare no expense. Anytime he walked in the room, he wanted to remind me wrestling was not real. Why you watch that? Fake wrestling shit is what he used to say. But he let me watch it. So it didn't, right. It didn't matter. It didn't. So
that's fair.
That was good stuff. Yeah.
I feel like that was like, not necessarily like the hottest time for wrestling, like as far as so many people being into it. But I also wouldn't say that it's not either. Like, it's very kind of up in the air if that was, as far as 89 specifically, because Hogan Savage, that was just red hot. Awesome.
Well, following the house shows as of late, going into WrestleMania, it seems like, right, and I don't know if it's the weather too. I don't know if it's the being the winter going into the spring, but the numbers are down, across the board as far as the house shows, which is odd. But at the same time, maybe after WrestleMania 5, the very extremely slow decline begins. I could see that. That's something I'm going to continue to pay attention to. You would know, being the business of the business and all. But
it seems like SummerSlam picked right back up, though. You know what I mean? Like, as far as buy rate, and like it was hot again. So weird. I'm surprised the house shows were down just because Hogan Savage was like so hot.
It sure wasn't No Holds Barred that drew the house at SummerSlam. I'll tell you that much.
Unfortunately not, no.
No, but no. So that was very important to me to get that on here as part of this show, because we're going into WrestleMania. That was huge to me because I know you were a huge Hogan guy, right? And you cover the Hogan era extensively as well. And I don't know that it gets any bigger, even though my back history we've talked about. I'm the big Warrior guy. To me, WrestleMania 6, there was nothing bigger as a kid growing up. I would never compare Hogan and Warrior in regards to storytelling. I would never try to even put that in the same area as the Hogan Savage, the Mega Power storyline. I mean, I was a huge Warrior fan. When he won the belt, I could never be more happy. It was the biggest match to me. But storyline wise, I fully understood that Savage and Hogan was it. Like, where do you go from here kind of deal? And that's kind of a problem they have. Where do you go from here? Like this. We never see a story, to me, in my estimation, that I can think of off the top of my head. And people are going, Undertaker and Kane, they feuded for years. That's fine. That story didn't cut the mustard for me like Hogan and Savage. Like this, you can kind of relate to. And I love, I'm going to call back to something you said a while ago. You said Macho Man got extra paranoid. And I love the fact that you threw that in there extra, because he was always paranoid.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he was extra paranoid, and it just fits. It's the Macho Man. It wasn't when, or it wasn't if he would ever turn heel again. It was when and how. And he wasn't a babyface for all that long. You know, it was like, I don't think they ever wanted him to be a babyface, but they needed it at the time, and the fans were turning him anyway. So it's like, let's go with the fans and let's figure out a way to get him back to where we want him.
Yep.
And it works. It definitely works. Savage is 100% heel.
It is crazy. Like throughout just the history of wrestling, they'll create this like genius storyline or something that's so good. And it's like, all right, how do we follow it up? Have they ever really followed up? Like even here, Hogan Savage, to me, this is like top notch. This is top 5, top 3, whatever you want to say, storyline ever. How do they kind of finish it up? They just kept trying to drag it out. And then Zeus, like, oh, so it's like, okay, that didn't really work. NWO. The NWO.
Yeah.
So hot. Couldn't figure out afterwards. Right. Austin McMahon. Afterwards, you could tell it started. You could say it still was hot in the product, but you could tell creatively they were just not good after that. You know what I mean? That was down. It just Cody Roman. Everyone was saying how great that storyline was with the bloodline and everything. How great. Yeah. What happened after that? Yeah, it was hot for an extended period of time, but creatively sucked. Yeah, but creatively it kind of sucked. Yeah. You got creatively weak, as they say. Yeah.
You can only ride the boat for so long, and I think people have made that mistake for decades now with the storytelling. It's like, but we made so much money. There's got to be more to this, and how do we get something as hot as this again? Well, you got to start somewhere else. You got to stop doing this in order to get to that, right? So,
it's almost like I know Flair Steamboat in this, obviously, literally in this same time period, it was Flair Steamboat going up against Hogan Savage. Hogan and Savage completely obliterates it financially. Just you could look at the numbers. It's like it's almost embarrassingly so. But match wise, you're like, oh, that's such a good match. Right. Once they got through Flair Steamboat, how do you end it? Boom, Funk is right there, and that feud starts, and then they start drawing better. So I feel like I know it's a little bit different, but a little maybe apples and oranges there. But it's almost like you have to start right where you're going to go, right as the other storyline finishes. But that never kind of works out that way.
Yeah, I can't compare the NWA to the WWF in regards to pay-per-views and things of that nature at the time. But I have to wonder if George Scott was not the one that put that together. And I don't know if Steamboat comes back if George Scott isn't there, by the way. But if George Scott wasn't the one booking, I have to wonder how much better would Clash have done up here going up against WrestleMania 5 Clash 6, because they would not promote it. They wouldn't mention the name of the show. George Scott, and I'm not trying to make this an NWA show, but I did discuss this at length a long time ago on The Grenade when I covered 89 in the NWA, was, that was the demise of George Scott that night. That was the end of his run with the company because he didn't really promote this giant Steamboat Flair match, one of a few that they had, obviously the big trilogy and things. But no, I'm with you. What a time, though, to be a wrestling fan, not just a WWF fan, but a wrestling fan. I know Ricky Steamboat from the WWF. Ric Flair's, the cock of the walk over there in the NWA, and then Hogan and Savage. It doesn't get any bigger. Your 1A, your 1B, whatever you want to call them here in the WWF. So it's just everything's peaking at once right now for wrestling fans out there, and I'm glad I'm here for it. And we're going to get to Saturday night's main event in just a minute. But I've been interviewing a few guys about WrestleMania, Hogan and Savage, but I always like to throw everybody an extra additional match from WrestleMania and get their take on it. And so I was going to go with something more storytelling, some storyline back with you, but instead, I'm going to throw just a random match at you and get your memories of this as a kid and things of that nature, because the contrast of styles, but I still really enjoy the matchup. The tag team match, you were talking about the Twin Towers, so it made me think of this, and the Rockers there in WrestleMania.
Yes. For some reason, even because I'll go back and I'll watch old WrestleManias and stuff, usually WrestleMania season, but I don't know, 5 is always 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, sometimes 8. Those are the ones I always like to go back and watch, old school ones, really, primarily. That match, for some reason, I feel like it's almost not talked about as much. It's just fun. I like it. It's a good match, good work. Obviously, you're thinking, how the hell the Rockers can work these guys? Right. But it's actually a great chemistry. I guess really Rockers can work with anybody. But from a kid perspective, they're going to get destroyed. They're the freaking Twin Towers. They just destroyed Hogan and Savage. And you know what I mean? It seems almost unfair. But I liked it. I thought good match. Definitely got the crowd into it. One of those things where the Rockers are smaller guys, but Akeem and Bossman still sold for them appropriately. And I thought it was good. I liked it. I thought it was a good match. And one of the things when you're thinking about it, it's wow, Twin Towers went from Hogan and Savage to the Rockers. What's going on here? But you had to get them on the card. You had to get them on.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hogan's working with Bossman right now on the house shows. They're doing the cage matches, but you got to get, like you said, the Twin Towers got to be part of WrestleMania. They're semi-main or main event guys anytime you put them in the ring, no matter who they're working. And so to put them in an early match against the Rockers, it was okay, this is interesting, but Of course, the Rockers being tag team specialists, they hold their own, lots of double teaming and stuff there. Like you said, Akeem did a tremendous job. Boss Man even selling for him, but Akeem bumping for them. And what a nasty finish there. Boss Man kind of catching Shawn into that spine buster, power bomb, whatever that was.
Yep.
Akeem with the big splash. And then there's that clothesline during the match where it looks like Akeem kills Shawn as well. So it was a really fun match. Two of my favorite teams of the era. So, yeah.
Definitely good spots in there. There is, though, house show-wise, Hogan versus Boss Man at MSG. They do the same match on the same day in Philly.
They drew Boston.
Boston. I'm sorry, at Boston Garden. You're right, Boston. Mm-hmm. And they drew basically 40,000 fans for one day, for one match. So that is remarkable. So they're drawing well for Hogan, Boss Man, the cage.
Yeah, Boss Man and Hogan have been doing phenomenal numbers, but you're absolutely right. I was doing that. We just covered that on the most recent Grenade show, the house shows from March of '89. And I didn't realize that both of those, I'd seen both matches, and they are different. They're actually different matches if you go back and watch them. Boss Man actually blades in Boston, but if you go back and watch the matches, they're sold out. And you go and look at the numbers, and sure enough, the Garden sold out nearly 20,000. And Boston, or MSG, and Boston sold out. And it's like, wow, imagine the money that Ray Traylor made that day. That certainly trumped probably an entire year working for Crockett. I'm sure
40,000 tickets for one night, 2 matches. Basically, you're working Hogan. You're driving up, driving back. Basically, crazy.
Hadn't even been in the company a year.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, absolutely. So, but getting just really quickly as we get going with Saturday night's main event, I just wanted to put over because the Rockers are getting ready to take on the Brainbusters here as part of the NBC program. And you look at that on paper and you go, oh, that's going to be an awesome match. And when the Rockers are going to work with the Rougeos later here in '89, you're going to go, well, that's probably going to be a pretty solid match. Rockers and Hart Foundation, that'll be a hell of a match. But the Rockers and the Twin Towers, you're right. You go, how are they going to work that? Well, they can work anybody. I mean, they have an amazing match with Barbarian and Haku at WrestleMania 7 by my estimation. And of course, so they got a lot of great matches ahead on pay-per-view, but it all starts with WrestleManias for them, WrestleMania 5, which we'll be getting to here soon on the big ones, and it's part of the Grenade. But right now, John, we're going back in time to March the 11th, 1989, Saturday night's main event. And you talked about it earlier. The feud was, Randy Savage and Bad News Brown, but also Hulk Hogan had his issues with Bad News as well. So they're going to finish up here, and they're just kind of setting the tone for WrestleMania. We can't feed him to Savage now. So Hogan gets Bad News here to kind of build himself up. We got the Rockers, the Brainbusters, the Red Rooster going at it with the Brooklyn Brawler, man, another great feud. So we got a lot of fun little things to happen here this week.
I love it. Even the low-card feuds are interesting, to be honest. It's the good stuff.
Going to be interesting. We got Ted DiBiase and the Blue Blazer on the card. And, even Brutus the Barber Beefcake manages to make it here to take on Ravishing Rick Rude. All of that, plus Miss Elizabeth going to make her decision. Whose corner will she be in at WrestleMania 5? You guys don't have to wait any longer. We're about to get going. But before we do, guys, I just want to encourage everybody to check out all of John Poz's great stuff he's got going on out there. And, John, I want you to tell them how they can listen to you and watch you around the world.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip, and you can find everything on there as far as all the links. You got the 2Man Power Trip podcast, do 2 interviews a week. You got the Hogan era. And then, of course, in my pantheon of the empire here, we have the Business podcast. I do a podcast with Dr. Tom. A lot of good stuff. So please check that out. From High Voltage, who I couldn't find any other interviews that he ever did. So pretty rare, pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I didn't know about that one, so I appreciate you pumping that out here because it might have escaped me. I don't know how I didn't see that already. I'm looking forward to that one.
It'll be out tomorrow, but obviously, yeah. So that's why you didn't see it yet. But yeah.
So maybe by the time this drops, it'll already be out, guys. Yes. Go check that out and everything else John just ran down. We'll talk about it a little more at the end of the program. But right now, guys, we're going back in time. Another edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. All right, there it was. Fun conversation with the Poz Man. As always, great to have him as part of the WrestleCopia world when he has time. Appreciate it again, John, for being a part of the big ones over there at patreon.com/WrestleCopia. Again, you guys can go check it out right now as part of the Ultimate Tier. The Ultimate Tier gets you all the big ones. We go back and cover all of the great big events that coincide right here with the Wrestling Memory Grenade Project, including the recent Boston Garden Show. Some really fun watch-alongs there. We also do a bunch of other big events, the big ones, if you will, that coincide with the Monday Warfare videocast we're doing over there on Patreon. Also, part of that ultimate tier, you'll have access to Regional Wrestling Unreeled, along with my co-host Jamie Ward going back in time dissecting 2 additional projects right now that aren't part of the Regional Wrestling podcast world, going back and covering both Mid-South Wrestling 1982 as well as the USA Network run of Southwest Championship Wrestling from late 82 through the summer of 83. Those are our current projects ongoing right now. Watch-alongs right there, part of Regional Wrestling Unreeled. And of course, also part of that ultimate tier, the Dropbox, the treasure chest Dropbox of goodies, over 2 terabytes of fun old school video footage available at your fingertips to watch, download, whatever you desire, inquire within. But yes, once again, I do want to thank John Poz for joining us there, spending a little time. We did cover this Saturday night's main event in long form as a watch-along. We had a blast covering that, by the way, so go check that out right now over at the Patreon. But right now, guys, we're going to jump back into things grenade style. Heading back to March 11th, 1989, it's the WWF's Saturday Night's main event.
Tonight, the decision of a lifetime for the lovely Miss Elizabeth. She must choose between the Hulkster and the Macho Man once and for all. But it used to be different. Elizabeth held the mega powers together. The madness and the mania, like nitro and glycerin, powerful and explosive, harnessed by Miss Elizabeth. She rode atop the wrestling world. But then, the unprovoked public slap and humiliation of the Hulkster by the Macho Man. And then, the vicious head blow with the heavy metal championship belt, the Hulkster floored.
Oh, get out of the way! I'm gonna splatter you right on him. I'm gonna splatter you right on him.
The Macho Man, still enraged, brutally thrusting Elizabeth into solid concrete. The mega powers were no more. And so tonight, Elizabeth must choose whose corner to stand in at WrestleMania V. It's a decision of a lifetime. On Saturday night, main event. Enough, McMahon. I'm here to cover wrestling, not women. And the man I want to see tonight is Bad News Brown, the toughest street fighter in the entire World Wrestling Federation. Take on your buddy, Hulk Hogan.
And here we are, the 20th edition of Saturday Night's main event, March 11th, 1989, taped back February 16th. I'll have you know, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Hershey Park Arena, 9,000 fans in attendance for this TV taping. Your hosts, as always, Vince McMahon and Jesse the Body Ventura. Now, we heard the intro there. None of the familiar opening promos that we normally get on the SNME shows. Vince McMahon instead promoting the Mega Powers split and whose corner the lovely Elizabeth will be in come WrestleMania 5. Well, we won't have to wait long to find out. The decision of a lifetime happens tonight for the lovely Liz. Plus, we've got 5 big matches on the docket, including Hulk Hogan coming to the defense of one Miss Elizabeth. Of course, recently we talked about it here on the Grenade. Bad News Brown exclaiming that Elizabeth had been performing favors to WWF President Jack Tunney in order for the Macho Man to win the title, keep the title, and keep Bad News out of the title picture. And since the Macho Man is now a heel, it is Hulk Hogan's turn to come and save the day for the damsel in distress, Miss Elizabeth there. So Hulk Hogan going one-on-one with Bad News Brown, but it doesn't end there. We've got Ravishing Rick Rude coming for the Warriors' IC Gold at WrestleMania. Rude's opponent this week, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Then from there, making his NBC debut, the Blue Blazer coming down, and he's going to be taking on the $1 Million Man, Ted Dibiase, with that brand new $1 Million title belt, no doubt about it, around his waist. But it doesn't end there. Bobby Heenan sending in his Brooklyn Brawler to take out the Red Rooster later on in the program, and the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, slated to take on Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the Brainbusters. Going to be a hot night here on NBC. As we roll off now backstage preparing for match number 1, Mean Gene Okerlund standing by with ravishing Rick Rude and his manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
All right, with me at this time is Bobby the Brain Heenan and ravishing Rick Rude. Tonight, gentlemen, it's going to be Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Why Brutus? What's in the long-range plan?
My long-range plans, Pee-wee, are none of your business. But I'll let you know my short-term plans just a little. And that is to get rid of Brutus the Barber Beefcake. See, he's been going through the World Wrestling Federation, cutting a lot of people's hair, making a lot of people look real shabby. You know about lousy-looking haircuts. And the last thing this gentleman wants here is to be in the ring with anybody with a lousy-looking haircut or a poor appearance. So we're just going to get rid of Brutus the Barber Beefcake. You see, because the image of this man and professional wrestling is very important to us.
All right, that's all well and good, Bobby the Brain Heenan, but what about Brutus the Barber Beefcake? He has been looking very sharp in the ring. Pardon the pun. And what about his formidable sleeper hold? What about that?
Ravishing Rick, what would happen if he even tried to apply that sleeper hold on the ravishing one?
A rude awakening.
Please, gentlemen. Vince, I don't know. Bobby Heenan talks about what's good for wrestling, but I've got to believe he's considering what's good for Bobby Heenan. Let's get back to you.
And you guys can't see it here on the podcast, but the irony of this all is the ravishing one battling the Barber so soon after Rick Rude debuting his brand new perm look. I'd say 'twas the times, but that just ain't so in 1989. Not sure what Rick Rude was thinking there with the perm, but who's going to say something to him? But the ravishing one stating, if Beefcake even tries to apply his patented sleeper hold, there will be a rude awakening. Anywho, Rick Rude planning to clip down the Barber on his way to the IC title and the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 5. But right now, speaking of his opponent, we go backstage once again. Mean Gene Okerlund standing by with the man himself, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Bobby Heenan has promised to rid the World Wrestling Federation of not only you, but your hair cutting. What have you got to say about that?
I say Bobby Heenan is like a hairdryer. You turn him on, he's all hot air. I'm the official barber of the World Wrestling Federation. No matter what the weasel says, I'm here to stay.
Now, ravishing Rick Rude says you're making both him and his beautiful body look bad.
Look bad? He has no body.
Now, wait a minute. Rick Rude clearly has a sensational body,
Not
Brutus.
that body. His hair has no body. And I'm gonna give him some.
How do you do that?
Simple. First you start cutting. When you get to the body, you stop. Like Ron Bass. When I finished with him, his hair was all body.
Yes, and not much else. But, Brutus, what comes after the cutting?
The strutting. Cutting and strutting. Cutting and strutting.
Vince, this man certainly is intent on fulfilling his position as the official barber of the World Wrestling Federation. Now, will that position be permanent, or will Bobby Heenan and Rick Rude see that it's a washout? Back to you.
All right, Beefer doesn't think Rick Rude has much of a body. Oh, now come on, Brudeye. You got to admit, he's got a hell of a body, a hell of a package, if you will. Not that body, Gene. His hair body. I don't know about that either. Maybe Beefer hasn't seen the new perm job on Rick Rude. And I guess that would rule out Beefcake as Rude's barber, if you know what I mean. Anywho, we go back to ringside singles action. Going to see Brutus the Barber Beefcake take on ravishing Rick Rude. And yep, Bobby Heenan ringside here for match 1 of 3 for the Brain here tonight. I bet the other managers love that. We get a hot crowd tonight, though, as Rick Rude and Bobby Heenan back off when Brudeye pulls out those hedge clippers early on. We also catch a glimpse of the Ultimate Warrior's face imprinted on the back of Rick Rude's tights, symbolizing his plans to take the IC title as part of WrestleMania 5. Now, as the action begins here tonight, Rick Rude's slugging away, but Brutus ducks and going to take over, rocking Rick with a series of right hands and a big backdrop. Beefer looking to end things early, slapping on his patented sleeper hold. Wow, into the early moments of the match, but Rick Rude wisely trying to rush into the corner to break the hold. Beefcake, though, wise himself, believe it or not, releases the sleeper, causing Rick Rude to run himself face first into the corner buckle. As the action continues on, we get some great selling here from Rick Rude as the ravishing one countering, though, the 10 punches in the corner, taking Beefer down with an inverted atomic drop and a short knee into the ribs of the Barber, followed by a snap suplex. Brother, gonna get 2 here for the ravishing one. The crowd, though, rallying behind the Barber as Rick Rude applies a chin lock, pulling the hair to keep the Beefer down on the ground as we catch a glimpse of Andre the Giant making his way to ringside. Well, that's peculiar. Andre heading down another member of the Heenan family. Brutus, however, breaking free of that chin lock with a jawbreaker in the ring, delivering his own version of the inverted atomic drop, which Rude sells awesomely. Nobody sold an atomic drop quite like Rick Rude. Brutus, though, running into a knee in the corner, and Rick Rude pitching the Barber outside, where Andre delivers a series of butt drops on the floor and chokes out Beefcake behind referee Hebner's back. Andre choking the Barber out on the floor, but here comes Jake the Snake Roberts. Oh, and he's not alone, guys. No doubt Damien in the sack over his shoulder there. The Snake Man cometh here at ringside. Jake Roberts now down here as Andre choking away at Brutus Beefcake. Rick Rude has the referee's attention, but Rude sees Jake coming and meets him on the floor. The two men take their fight into the ring. Andre soon joining in as Dave Hebner forced to throw the match out. Total time of the match, 5 minutes and 44 seconds. We'll have the results in just a few minutes, but the action continues on right now. Beefcake down and out on the floor. Meanwhile, Rude and Andre now double teaming the Snake Man, and Jake in trouble and in a hurry. Andre choking him down while Rude laying in the shots. Brudai, though, finally recovering on the floor, goes after Rick Rude. Another great sell from the Barber's atomic drop here, as Beefcake going to clothesline Rude over the top rope and out to the floor. Beefcake then going to turn his attentions to Andre the Giant, try to stop Andre from choking the life out of the Snake Man over on the ropes. But Andre just shrugging off the shots from the Barber, and a big chop and a massive headbutt sends Beefcake down to the mat. Andre then booting Jake outside before turning his attentions to the Barber. Now it's Andre's turn to choke out Brutus Beefcake. But we're not done with the run-ins here. We'll call this one a walk-in. Here comes Big John Studd to ringside. Andre realizing that Studd has stepped in over the top rope. Now inside the ring, the Giant, Andre, releasing the chokehold on Beefcake and turning his attention to Big John. And we get a stare down of epic proportions here. The two Giants begin to step closer to one another, just as Jake Roberts recovers and unleashes Damien into the ring at the feet of both Studd and Andre. With Damien on the mat, we see both Dave Hebner and Andre flee the ring, the Giant darting off in fear, nearly falling over his own feet on the floor. Never been so happy to see Damien, by the way, saved us from that shit show that could have been John Studd and Andre the Giant. Jesse Ventura on commentary even exclaiming, "I thought Andre was over the fear." But apparently not. The Heenan family escape ringside as we see the trio of Jake Roberts, Brutus Beefcake, and Big John Studd standing tall in the ring, which is just really weird sight. Somehow the Barber then announced as the winner of the match by disqualification, even though Jake Roberts also interfered. Now, had Hebner actually seen Andre's interference on Beefcake, I'd understand the outcome more. But, that's irrelevant to the storytelling, pal. So a lot going on there. We get a decent little match there from the Barber and Ravishing Rick, leading to Andre the Giant showing up ringside, getting his interference in, getting his licks in behind the ref's back. Jake Roberts coming out to even the odds. Of course, Jake feuding with Andre. Jake's had his issues with Rick Rude and kind of evening the odds by bringing himself and Damien ringside. But before the referee can catch Andre's interference, Jake Roberts and Rick Rude going at it. Somehow, the Barber still deemed the winner by DQ. And that may have been the best Brutus Beefcake match I've seen to date here on the Grenade. Not that it was very good, but still, I'll take a passable match over crap any day. So lots of WrestleMania undertones here, I guess you could say. Not really trying to hide it. Beefcake showcased prior to his match with Ted DiBiase at the pay-per-view. Rick Rude wearing the Ultimate Warrior on his tights, signifying his match with UW for the IC Gold. And of course, the big match between Jake Roberts versus Andre the Giant, with John Studd as referee. Somehow, none of those men were actually in this match, but they all wound up ringside by the end to promote their match at WrestleMania. So So they figured out a way to get Jake, Andre, and Stud on this program to promote their program at the pay-per-view. Fun little opener there. Gets things going. Crowd very hot, by the way, for that one. As we get a quick bumper promo going into the commercial break from Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster himself, who says he's taking a solemn vow to make Bad News Brown pay for the filthy lies about Miss Elizabeth. Bad news will be yesterday's news when the Hulkster gets through with him, brother. And we come back from break. Now we're going to hear from the other side of the story. Jesse the Body Ventura standing by backstage with one Bad News Brown.
Bad news as a journalist, I'm extremely interested in your revelation concerning Miss Elizabeth. Specifically that she has done favors for World Wrestling Federation President Jack Tunney for special treatment, something that I've long suspected. Now, Randy Macho Man Savage has yet to defend Miss Elizabeth's honor, but Hulk Hogan claims that he will do what the Macho Man has failed to do. Your comments?
Hulk Hogan's got enough problems with that Randy Macho Man Savage than to be messing around with Bad News Brown. That woman is all the problem. She's the one. She's already helped to split up the mega powers, and now she's getting between me and my title shot. Well, let me tell you something, you big dummy Hulk Hogan. You better wise up quick. That's right, you better wise up quick, because nobody, and I mean nobody, especially somebody with a woman in their corner, is going to get between me and that championship belt.
Well, Elizabeth will be in Hogan's corner tonight.
Thanks for the good news, Jesse, but let me tell you one thing, Hulk Hogan. I got some bad news for you.
As the man who tells it like it is, I gotta thank Bad News Brown for exposing the seamy underside to Jack Tunney's corrupt administration. Back to you, Jack.
Well, the Body suspected all along that there was something going on between Elizabeth and the offices of the WWF, namely one President Jack Tunney. It's a good thing that Bad News Brown exposed Liz and the WWF Prez for who they really are. Brown warning his opponent tonight, the Hulkster, not to look past him. Hogan has enough on his plate with the Macho Man at WrestleMania, but Bad News feels he's being screwed out of his title shot. He doesn't blame Savage, though, but rather Miss Elizabeth and her favors, if you will. Brown learns of the good news that Liz will be accompanying Hogan to ringside for this bout, but it's going to be bad news for Hulk Hogan. Well, we'll have to wait and see about that as we go backstage yet again. This time, Mean Gene Okerlund standing by with the brother himself. Here's Hulk Hogan, and he's got Elizabeth by his side.
Hulkster, I was as shocked as you were when I heard the accusations from Bad News Brown about Miss Elizabeth. Hulk, I couldn't believe somebody...
Shut up, Mean Gene. Don't repeat those filthy lies Bad News Brown said about Miss Elizabeth. Can't you see she's hurt enough? And the Macho Man, your actions hurt Liz even deeper, brother. But what almost dug the grave 6 feet under was the way you, Macho Man, put Elizabeth between you and I, destroyed the Mega Power team. That's what hurt her the most.
All right, Hulk Hogan, is that the reason that you have challenged the Macho Man Randy Savage for the World Wrestling Federation Championship in WrestleMania V?
I guess you could say that's what put me over the edge, man. But I started seeing it coming a long time ago, man. I saw the jealousy in the Macho Man's eyes. I saw how he couldn't handle the fact that Elizabeth was doing a good job managing me, too. But as far as you go, Bad News Brown, I'm going to do something for Elizabeth that the Macho Man couldn't do. I'm going to stick up for her and defend her honor tonight on Saturday night's main event. But let me tell you something, Macho Man. You're next at WrestleMania 5. You're hanging on to the last thing that's keeping you alive, the WWF Championship, brother. And at WrestleMania 5, I'm going to take my belt back from you.
All right, I thank you. First things first, on to Bad News Brown. Vince, I don't believe I've ever seen Hulk Hogan in that state of mind.
Well, since the Macho Man wouldn't do it, the Hulkster says he has to step up tonight and defend the honor of Miss Elizabeth and the disgusting rumors spread about her by one Bad News Brown. It's one step at a time, it seems like, for Hulk Hogan. Dude. He has the Macho Man at Mania, but tonight he restores the honor of his manager, the lovely Miss Liz. Taking on Bad News Brown, we go back to ringside. There he is. The loner himself needs no manager. Bad News Brown in the ring, awaiting the arrival, there he is, of Hulk Hogan. And yes, indeed, Miss Elizabeth accompanying the Hulkster to ringside, at least here on NBC. Will she be in his corner at WrestleMania? The decision of a lifetime awaits later tonight. But right now, Elizabeth out here in a beautiful white dress. The Hulkster getting ready to take on Bad News.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat to Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at uswapodcast.com.
Hey guys, Ray Russell back to talk to you about all the new and exciting audio and video podcasts we've been putting together over at patreon.com/WrestleCopia. As a self-funded brand, this entire ship is powered by our patrons. It's your support that keeps all of these wonderful shows going here at WrestleCopia. And with that said, I wanted to mention that we now have 3 major tiers with tons of Patreon-exclusive next-level content for our Patreon supporters. And it all starts with the $5 all-access tier, which gets you early access to many of the weekly podcasts, at least a dozen monthly digital downloads for your viewing and reading pleasure, the insanely detailed show notes for the Wrestling Memory Grenade Regional Wrestling, and the OG Monday Warfare podcast, plus random bonus video drops, archived old-school audio watch-alongs from the early years of the brand. And if that's not all, the brand new Patreon-exclusive podcast, Ranting Raw, featuring yours truly, Ray Russell, completely uncensored, unfiltered, with honest takes, taking patron questions and addressing various topics from throughout wrestling history. It is a whole lot of fun wrapped under the all-access tier for only $5, but things get even hotter with the VIP Superfan tier. For just a few dollars more, you get everything already mentioned in the all-access tier, plus as part of the VIP tier, a whole new slew of videocast series where it's not just your typical watch-alongs. Sure, we laugh, we have fun, but we're also breaking down the history, the context, and the why behind what you're seeing. And as part of the VIP tier, you have access to Dan Gennety's Puro Resu Academy videocast, the Coliseum videocast with co-host Gene Jackson, and the Monday Warfare videocast, Raw vs. Nitro, breaking down the history of the Monday Night War. Plus, you also get the Memphis 1985 folder of goodies and all show notes for the Puro Academy podcast and Gene's retro review show. Lots to be had there at the VIP tier. But wait, there's more. For those WrestleCopia backers who crave even more from the brand, we bring you yet another level of content fit for a warrior, because it is indeed the ultimate tier, which gives you everything from the all-access pass, everything from the VIP tier, plus you will receive access to the big ones, video series, featuring a lengthy look and discussion into some of the biggest pay-per-views, super shows, and other events from throughout wrestling history. It's also a great place to keep up with the big events that coincide with the Monday Warfare videocast and so many other big events from years gone by. You'll also have access to the newest big hit to the Copia brand. I'm talking about Regional Wrestling Unreal, the video series. Get ready for the next level in Regional Wrestling as we dissect territory history in video form. Watch along with us. But still, even more for your money, guys. You'll also receive access to the Treasure Chest, which offers patrons the unique opportunity to download and watch select rarities from wrestling history. And for those of you who are wondering what we offer, are contemplating joining a paid Patreon membership, or simply a curious lurker, a reminder there's a free tier at our Patreon that you can join as well. Remember, guys, no subscription, cancel any time, but I think you'll like the content that we're offering there for any budget you may have. And you can sign up right now, patreon.com/WrestleCopia, or look for the QR code where available. We appreciate your support in helping us pay the bills to keep the WrestleCopia Podcast Network running and enabling us to continue to bring you all of the quality programming that we offer.
This is Wrestling Nostalgia, the podcast that dives into wrestling history. Hey, wrestling fans, I'm Dave Dynasty, and if you enjoy podcasts that are knowledgeable and history-driven, then Wrestling Nostalgia is for you. With great guests and fun interviews, there are over 200 episodes in our archives. We chat with several first-time guests and often cover topics not discussed on other podcasts. Look up Wrestling Nostalgia on your favorite podcast platform and visit all of our links at linktree/WrestlePod. That is linktr.ee/RASSLEPOD. And remember, wherever you go, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and keep on growing.
All right, here it is, Hulk Hogan with Elizabeth in his corner, taking on Bad News Brown. We've seen it a few times in the house shows throughout the fall of 1988, but we get it right here on NBC. And I don't know how wise it is to take on a guy the likes of Bad News so close to your title match at WrestleMania with the Macho Man. But the hard sell here being this could be the last time we see Elizabeth accompany Hulk Hogan to ringside. Depends on her decision later tonight. And Hulk Hogan, as mentioned, going to make Bad News pay for the rumors he spread about Elizabeth and Jack Tunney. Dude. Now, per the usual, it's Bad News who lands the first strike. Cheap shots, taking the Hulkster down to the mat, stomping him down, choking away with his boot, but Brown missing a forearm drop, and Hogan popping up, rocking Bad News with a pair of shots that send him out to the floor. And Brown is frustrated, arguing with the fans ringside. Hogan going to bring Brown back in the hard way, over the top rope into the ring. Big clothesline by Hulkster, floors Bad News, followed by those rapid-fire Hulk Hogan elbow drops. Hulkster then hitting the big moves early as he lands the big boot, drops Brown to the mat. Bad News, though, briefly going to make a comeback. More cheap shots from the heel, but Hogan atomic drops, sending Bad News back outside once again. But this time, the Hulkster following him outside to the floor. Going to match Brown at his own street fighting game, or so he thinks. May have been a mistake by the Hulkster to follow Brown to the floor. Bad News taking back over, posting Hulk Hogan head first into that steel post. However, Brown missing a punch of his own into the steel post. Got that padded glove. I don't know how much it hurt, but it hurt enough. Again, frustrated, Bad News going for a steel chair, coming after Hulk Hogan, but Hogan able to fight him off and ditch the chair. Smart move there. Brown going to show just how tough he is, picking the chair back up, banging it against his own head before looking around ringside for more plunder, if you will. And when Bad News is not happy with what he finds ringside, he takes off backstage, only to return with... Is that a shovel? Geez, where were you this past month? I could have used the little extra help on my driveway there. Bad News, but Bad News Brown returning with a giant snow shovel, it would appear, as officials trying to prevent Brown from returning to the ring with said shovel. We take a commercial break. The plot thickens. Stay tuned, guys, on the other side of the commercial. Back from break, referee Joey Morella trying to take the shovel from Brown as the Hulkster sneaks up from behind, the two men battling now for the shovel on the floor. But the action finally going to return to the ring. Sans shovel. No shovel in sight, unfortunately. Big build-up, no payoff there for the potential shovel spot we were all waiting for. Kept people glued, tuned in through the commercial break anyway. Anywho, back to the action in the ring. Hogan whipping Brown into the corner, looking to charge in, big clothesline. But Bad News instead bouncing out with that big left-handed lariat of his own, dropping Hulk down to the mat. Brown then stomping away, hammering Hogan down, and Bad News going to drop his own big leg drop from Bad News Brown. Going to get 1, 2, Hogan kicking out and with authority. I doubt he cared for Bad News using his finisher, but I don't think Hulk's going to say anything to Brown here. When the leg drop doesn't work for the Bad News man, Brown kicking Hogan out to the floor at the feet of the lovely Miss Elizabeth, but now Brown coming out after Liz, chasing her around ringside. Look out, Liz. But Hogan, he won't have that, brother. Coming to the rescue of Miss Elizabeth, blasting Bad News from behind, but Brown able to once again send Hogan shoulder first into the ring post. Down goes the Hulkster, the action back inside the ring. Bad News Brown busting out a wrestling move, a Russian leg sweep from Bad News Brown. Going to get 1, 2, Hogan's foot outside the ring, under the ropes, the only thing to stop the count. Gotta hook the leg, Jess. Tell you every time. Listen to the gorilla, guys. Bad News failing to hook the leg. Hogan able to slide his foot out from under the ropes to break the The pinfall there on a Russian leg sweep from Bad News Brown. Hogan clinging to the boots of Brown, crawling in pain, trying to climb up Brown's legs. Great selling here. Great facials by Hulk Hogan here on the camera. As Brown then calling for the microphone. In the ring, Bad News Brown grabbing hold of the house mic during the middle of a match. He states, "Look at your hero, crawling like the dog that he is. You think Bad News will give you some mercy? No way. It's Ghetto Blaster time, fool." Awesome. Cutting promos mid-match on Hulk Hogan, no less. But Bad News made the mistake of calling for his finisher out loud. And as he looks to deliver the Ghetto Blaster, Hogan able to dodge the move by ducking down, dropping down, and Bad News missing the move, taking a bump flat on his face. Great sell job there from Brown. Great facials as he misses his move for the first time, and he doesn't know what to do. Is Hogan able to recover and Hulk up? Impervious now to the shots from Bad News Brown. Bad News looks for a big clothesline off the ropes, but Hogan again ducks and rebounds with a high knee. Haven't seen him use that in a while. Hulk Hogan catching Brown off guard with a high knee off the ropes. Down goes Brown, and Hogan dropping the big leg. 1, 2, 3. Wow, 10 minutes this match gets here on NBC, and Hulk Hogan getting the win. What a match, honestly. Much like the Brutus match, easily Bad News Brown's best match I've seen to date here. Hogan avenging the good name of Miss Elizabeth since Randy Savage, now in the heel role, unable to do so. Explains the match, the reason behind the match. Bad News, though, man, he came to work tonight, busting out some really good stuff. A Russian leg sweep. Haven't seen him pull that one out before. And you got to love the bump off the missed Ghetto Blaster, Brown's immediate shock in his face. Nobody had ever ducked that move before. Nobody had ever countered the Ghetto Blaster. And, of course, Bad News gets to save face a little bit here. Hogan does not kick out of his finisher, doesn't even take his finisher, and he hulks up out of nowhere. And they even avoid the typical Hulk Hogan comeback by hitting a legit high knee and a quick leg drop to get the win here. Hogan working very differently for Bad News Brown, and wisely so. So, in my estimation, we've got winners here everywhere in this matchup. Solid match from both sides. Story told perfectly. And, of course, post-match, the Hulkster must pose, pal. And he does so, with the lovely Elizabeth high atop his shoulder. Should he really be doing that in the middle of his issues with his brother, the Macho Man? But we are not done yet, at least not with the Hogan Savage story. Remember, later tonight, it will be the decision of a lifetime when Elizabeth decides whose corner she will be in at WrestleMania 5. Wow, really fun show so far, and it's and I don't want to really downplay, but to me, it's one of the more forgettable Saturday night's main events. There's not a whole lot that people discuss when they talk about memories from the old SNMEs from this show, but so far, so good. I got to give them kudos there as we go off now to Sean Mooney and the Mountain Dew Slam of the Night, featuring Hacksaw Jim Duggan, his three-point stance and running clothesline finisher, giving Duggan yet another win there as Mountain Dew's Slam of the Night. We also get a quick clip backstage. Randy Savage stalking around outside of the lovely Miss Elizabeth's dressing room. No doubt Randy wanting an answer. Very paranoid as the Macho Man, per the usual. We'll have to wait and see. You don't have to wait too long, but we do go back to ringside first. We've got another match before we get to that decision. It's going to see the Blue Blazer take on this man, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
All right, gentlemen, Saturday night's main event audience anxiously is awaiting to see the $1 Million belt. Let's see it, Ted DiBiase.
Sure, Mean Gene. I'll show you what you'll never have. This is solid gold all the way around, and these are diamonds of the highest quality. And its value, little man, $1 million.
All right, that is mighty impressive, Ted DiBiase. But Jack Tunney of the World Wrestling Federation has not sanctioned this belt. It represents no title.
Who cares what that penny pincher Tunney sanctions? What's important is money, not Tunney. And this is worth a lot of money, little man. Virgil, shine that spot right there.
All right, what about your opponent tonight, the Blue Blazer? He is a shining star here in the World Wrestling Federation.
Does he shine more brightly than this gold or these diamonds, little man?
Well, no, $1 Million Man, no.
Then his star is about to fall, and I'll be there for the 3 count. Come on, Virgil.
Vince, I don't know if the $1 Million Man's long green is going to bankrupt the aerial antics of the Blue Blazer. We're going to find out shortly up in the ring.
Well, there was Mean Gene standing by with DiBiase and Virgil. The $1 Million Man once again showing off his recently debuted $1 million belt, showing it to the NBC audience for the first time here. The gold, the diamonds, they shine brighter than even the star of the Blue Blazer, who is indeed a shining star in his own right. But tonight, Dibiase says his star will fall from the sky. Egads. And on that note, we go backstage once again with Mean Gene Okerlund, now standing by with the other side of this match. Here he is, the Blue Blazer. Woo!
All right, Blue Blazer, let me be the first to welcome you to Saturday night's main event.
It's an honor to be here, Mean Gene. Thank you very much.
All right, you've got a major match tonight against the ostentatious $1 million man, Ted Dibiase. This guy is so confident, he wears a $1 million belt with the gold and the jewels. What are your thoughts?
Well, Gene, that heavy belt is going to keep the $1 million man firmly on the ground. Me, I intend to go airborne from the top rope, from the ring post, from the rafters if I have to. Keep looking up, $1 million man. Keep looking up, because you're going down.
All right, Vince, the Blue Blazer has announced his strategy. Will it work? We're going to find out.
Well, Dibiase talking about Owen's star falling from the sky. Equally disturbing here as Owen gets some quality promo time on NBC, proclaiming that he will sail from the top rope, from the rafters, if he has to, in order to gain the victory. Double egads. The unintentional foreshadowing here is disturbing, to say the least. But we do have a match in hand. We go back to ringside. Ted Dibiase out first with bodyguard Virgil by his side. Dibiase showing off that $1 million belt as the Blue Blazers music hits. Gotta love that. And in comes the Masked Man, straight up to the top rope. Owen backflipping into the ring. But as the Blazer turns around, runs right into an awesome clothesline from Ted Dibiase. Feathers go flying. Literally. The $1 million man now on the onslaught, working over the Blazer from here, hammering him down, series of elbows and fist drops. Teddy, though, getting too cocky, telegraphing a backdrop, and Owen with a pair of near falls with an inside cradle and a backslide, both getting 2 counts. Dibiase from there quickly back on top with another solid clothesline. Learned those from his partner Stan Hansen in All Japan, no doubt. Standing elbow from the middle rope from Dibiase and a textbook suplex. But Dibiase didn't learn anything from earlier in the matchup, again playing to the crowd instead of capitalizing with a cover. Teddy then trying for a backdrop once again, but the Blazer hitting a full 360-degree flip in the air. Owen sticking the landing. Holy shit. Taking a backdrop, landing on his feet. The Blazer here. Dibiase not ready for it, eating a drop kick to the back, sending the $1 million man over the top rope and out to the floor. Crowd going absolutely apeshit on the spot, as Owen with a suicide dive to the floor, straight through the rope, splattering Dibiase on the mat outside. The Blue Blazer going to town with a series of punches outside before sending the $1 million man into the ring post via an atomic drop. Now finally the action back inside. Dibiase wisely rolling back to the ring, but look out, the Blue Blazer to the top rope, coming back in with a high cross body, gets himself another near fall there. All right, Owen, take it to the $1 million man. Jesse Ventura on commentary beginning to ponder, if the Blue Blazer wins, does he get the $1 million belt? I'd like that fun story already. We're wondering if the title can change hands. Vince downplaying it because it's not a sanctioned belt here in the World Wrestling Federation. Meanwhile, in the ring, Ted Dibiase begins to beg off, but Owen unrelenting here. Backdrop on the $1 million man and a pair of drop kicks, taking Dibiase back down. From there, it's Owen Hart with a European uppercut, netting another 2 count. As the Blue Blazer is on fire here in the latter half of the match. Back and forth, the men begin off the ropes. Blazer looking for a leapfrog, but Dibiase stopping center ring, catching the Blazer in midair, turning that leapfrog into a power slam. Learned that one from the Mad Dog. And Dibiase hooking the leg for the 1, 2, 3. Ted Dibiase scoring a clean win over the Blue Blazer there. Match only goes 3 minutes and 56 seconds. Wow, that was the damnedest 4-minute match I've ever seen. Dibiase looked to be in serious trouble the last couple of minutes of that match, but just like that, to put over how great of a wrestler Ted Dibiase can be, he turns trouble into a victory here on NBC. Great comeback sequence for the Blue Blazer, but doesn't say much for Owen's future push here in the WWF, doing a clean job to Ted Dibiase so quickly. And the $1 million man getting back into the groove with his newly purchased $1 million belt and a win here on Saturday night's main event. Next stop for Ted Dibiase, Brutus Beefcake at WrestleMania 5. The Blue Blazer, he has his dance card busy with Mr. Perfect. Saturday night's main event brought to you in part by Burger King. We do it like you do it. We do it your way. All right. Burger King, a early sponsorship here of SNME as we go now. It's been promised since the beginning of the episode. It is the decision of a lifetime. Mean Gene Okerlund up on the interview platform looking to talk with the lovely Miss Elizabeth. We're going to find out now her decision. Whose corner will she be in at WrestleMania? Will it be with the Macho Man Randy Savage, the reigning WWF champion, or will it be with the man she accompanied here earlier tonight, the man who defended her honor, Hulk Hogan? And appears to be a quick change here for the lovely Liz, who managed to move on from her white dress earlier in the night in the Hulk Bad News match into a nice pink and black number here. Maybe that's her story. Maybe she's going to manage the Hart Foundation. That would have been interesting. Well, the show also likely taped out of order as it was part of the Wrestling Challenge taping, so this interview could have been plugged in anywhere throughout the night to explain Liz's quick wardrobe change, although she made it 4 times at WrestleMania 4. Well, Mean Gene has Liz up on the platform, and after some hemming and hawing, or is that hawing, Mean Gene gets down to it. Elizabeth, will you be in the corner of Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 5? Liz pauses for a moment, but her answer shocks everyone when she exclaims, no. No, she will not be in the corner of the Hulkster, which receives some loud boos. The fans are not happy about it. Let's just put it that way. The fans unhappy with Elizabeth's decision not to go with the Hulkster. And after announcing she won't be in Hogan's corner at the big event, out comes Randy Savage to gloat and claim his woman as his manager for the pay-per-view. But again, Mean Gene asking the question, will Elizabeth be in the corner of the Macho Man as part of WrestleMania? And again, after a pause, Miss Elizabeth replies, no, Liz will not corner Hulk Hogan nor Randy Savage at the pay-per-view. Now an angry Macho Man grabbing Liz by the chin, unhappy and dangerously close to getting physical with his valet, when out comes Hulk Hogan to save the day once again. Or maybe not. Hogan accepting the fact that Elizabeth will corner neither man. He's merely out here to put over the fact that he will beat Randy Savage at WrestleMania and once again be the WWF champion. Now the lovely Liz stepping in between the two men, trying to keep them separated here. Hold off, boys. But Hulk Hogan, such a hero that he walks away to his theme music, leaving Elizabeth up on the stage alone with the Macho Man, who grabs Liz by her arm and then quickly releasing her, but nobody there to save her. Hulk Hogan just walking off after cutting his promo, dude. Ventura then asking the big question, so whose corner is Liz going to be in at WrestleMania? Vince McMahon suggesting, a neutral corner, Jess. What a payoff. The decision of a lifetime leads to more uncertainty. Miss Elizabeth will corner neither man at WrestleMania. She doesn't want anyone to get hurt. She's not rooting for Hogan more than Savage, Savage more than Hogan. Lovely Liz in the neutral corner. Talk about a fart in church. But hey guys, we've still got 2 more matches here tonight, including an awesome tag team encounter between the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, getting ready to take on this team, the Brainbusters, with manager Bobby Heenan.
I suspect there's going to be some head knocking when the Rockers beat these 2 men. They are the Brainbusters, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, with manager Bobby Heenan.
You know, I don't know about you, Pee Wee, but I've had it just about up to here with the Rockers. Rockers this, Rockers that. I've had it with them. We're going to get rid of them tonight.
All right, Tully Blanchard.
You know, Bobby wanted us. He wanted a great tag team that could deliver the championships. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start with the Rockers, because what this is action personified. The greatest tag team in professional wrestling history.
All right, Arn Anderson.
Mean Gene, this is a thinking man's organization. We call it a division of labor. Bobby does the thinking. There's the speed. I'm the power. We got the connection. We've got it all combined in a way that it's unstoppable to anything ever seen. We are the finest team, and we're going over the Rockers.
We got some work to do, guys.
I thank you. They are the Brainbusters, along with their manager. Vince, let's get back to you.
Well, pretty basic Busters promo there. Arn and Tully looking to finally move past their feud with the Rockers as they have aspirations to become the next tag team champions. Well, they've got the Rockers tonight. They've got Strikeforce at WrestleMania. It's a long go a hell of a climb to the top of that ladder, but it starts here tonight with the Rockers on NBC. And speaking of, we go backstage once again. Mean Gene standing by with Sean and Marty.
I want to be the first to welcome the Rockers to Saturday night's main event. Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels tonight, gentlemen. It's going to be the Brain Busters, Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson.
Oh, I tell you what, Mean Gene, this is the one the Rockers have been waiting for on national TV for everybody to see. You know, in the past, Gene's gone fighting back to the dressing room, but tonight the Rockers are going to keep it all in the middle of the ring for everybody to see. And this time we're going to take care of them once and for all. Isn't that right, brother?
That's right, baby. You know, there's one thing that can be said for the Brain Busters, and that is you are winners. But then so is the Rockers. And you know, when you put two winners together, somebody's going to be a loser. And you showed the world that you'll do whatever you can to be a winner. But you got to remember one thing about the Rockers. We live by that old saying, when we're good, but when we're bad, we're better.
Oh, yeah, I like that. They are the Rockers. Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels. They're going to be facing the Brain Busters. Vince, let's get back to you.
Making their debut on national broadcast television, Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty planning to bring it here tonight. A wrestling match, a fight, whatever the case may be, the Rockers are ready because they are, in fact, tag team specialists. Woo! And here it is, the Rockers and the Brain Busters, a feud that started back in November, has seen multiple TV matches lead to non-finishes and some fun house show matches mixed in between. One of them we got to call there on the Ultimate Tier as part of the big one's Boston Garden for March of '89. You can go check that out right now for those patrons out there. But the Rockers rushing to the ring here on NBC, but it's the Brain Busters who get the jump on the baby faces, Arn knocking Shawn Michaels out to the floor early on, while Tully trying to end this really quickly, going for his slingshot suplex on Marty Jannetty, but Jannetty floating over top. However, Blanchard remaining in control with a reverse rolling cradle, looking for another pinfall attempt, but Shawn Michaels back up to the top rope, coming in with a crossbody on Tully while he has Jannetty cradled. And the Rockers are mounting a big comeback, clearing the heels from the ring early on, and the crowd going absolutely nuts for the Rockers. Finally, though, Arn Anderson up on the apron, knocking Shawn down, trying to come back inside is Anderson off the top rope, but Shawn kipping up and slamming Arn center ring off the top into the middle of the wrestling ring here. Michaels, though, staying on top of Anderson, applying a Boston Crab, but Tully trying to jump off the top rope himself to break up the move. Shawn releasing the crab to catch Blanchard with a shot to the gut on his way down off the top. And after a little do-si-do from the Rockers, they land stereo super kicks, once again taking the Brain Busters back out to the floor in order to regroup with manager Bobby Heenan. Hot and heavy early on here from both teams. Shawn finally suplexing Blanchard back inside from the apron and catching a flying head scissors, taking Tully back down to the mat. However, not long after that, Arn Anderson going to tag in to slow things down for the Busters' side with a big boot to the gut. Tully back inside with the referee distracted, and Bobby Heenan up on the apron, pulling the rope down. Shawn Michaels hitting the rope, taking a nasty spill thanks to the Brain over the top rope out to the floor. Looks like Bobby may have missed his cue on first try, but Shawn takes a terrible spill to the outside. And the Brain? He's busted. Referee Freddie Sparta. Well, he may have missed that rope yank from the Brain, but he does catch Bobby Heenan putting the boots to Shawn on the floor. And just like that, the Brain ejected from ringside, and the crowd eating it up, absolutely enjoying that one. Bobby Heenan arguing with Freddie Sparta, or Freddie the Freeloader, as Gorilla likes to call him, but the referee says if Bobby Heenan doesn't leave ringside, his team will be disqualified. As we see the Brain slowly exiting, petitioning, but leaving ringside as we take a commercial break. So when we return now from this ad break, guys, it is the brainless Brain Busters against the Rockers. It's going to be fair and square now, 2-on-2, as we come back from break. Marty working over Tully, but missing a blind tag to Arn Anderson, and eats an awesome Anderson double-handed clothesline. Nobody does that spot better than Arn Anderson, and the Busters finally going to take over on Marty Jannetty. Marty battling back, though, with a sunset flip on Tully, but gets pitched out by Arn. Another nasty bump over the top rope to the outside. Both Rockers now taking some dangerous bumps in this one. Marty back up on the apron, sunset flip back inside on Arn, but misses another blind tag to Tully. And we get some back and forth of counters for near falls on the mat between Marty Jannetty and Tully Blanchard. Marty going to try to dive for a tag to Shawn, but Tully catching him in midair, dragging Jannetty back to the heel corner. Tag back in by Arn Anderson, who lands his patented spinebuster. Takes Jannetty down, going to get 1, 2. Shawn Michaels wisely in to break up the cover there, because That would have been 3. Anderson, though, remaining in control of Jannetty, looking for the Vader bomb, that pump splash out of the corner, but lands on the knees of Jannetty. Arn Anderson down on the mat. Jannetty finally able to make that lunge and hot tag out to partner Shawn Michaels. As we go all bonzo gonzo, Shawn Michaels taking it to both brainbusters. Double noggin knocker, Jess, since the Buster's loopy. Arn Anderson going to try for a sunset flip on Shawn Michaels, but Blanchard off the top rope instead, connecting with the sunset flip. Shawn wouldn't go down for Arn, but Tully coming in over top of Shawn, taking over the sunset flip, takes Shawn down and gets 1, 2. Jannetty now diving in to save his partner. So the Rockers showing why they are the tag team specialists they claim to be, making saves with perfect timing, and all 4 men now in the ring taking the fight out to the floor. Shawn even taking a nasty dive out onto Arn. Not a very normal wrestling dive there. Shawn could have just literally throws himself over the top rope head first down onto Anderson. That could have been disastrous. But as the fight continues on the floor, Shawn Michaels backdropping Tully onto Arn on the outside as referee Freddie Sparta counting to 10. The result, a double countout. Match goes 8 minutes and 45 seconds here on NBC, and wow, what a match it was. Neither team, though, happy with the outcome. The Rockers questioning the referee. Brainbusters trying to attack once again, but a double dropkick sends Arn back to the floor. Double dropkick sends Tully over the top rope and back outside. The Busters still not done, though. They want more. But stereo dropkicks send them back off the apron, and they finally retreat back to the dressing room with manager Bobby Heenan lurking around somewhere, leaving everyone, the fans at home, the fans in the arena, and me, myself, wanting more. But sadly, this pretty much marks the end of their run, the Brainbusters and Rockers, at least on TV. The Busters have the reuniting of Strikeforce coming at them at WrestleMania. The Rockers going to tangle with the Twin Towers. But you want to talk about 2 teams made for each other as a babyface and a heel. What a match for free TV, for TV period. We rarely got something like this on pay-per-view. Speaking of, I wish they would have pulled the trigger on this at a pay-per-view. Sadly, the feud slowly winding down here, but this won't be the last time these 2 teams meet on NBC. We'll see them go at it again in the fall. And still yet one more match ahead here on Saturday night's main event right now. Jesse Ventura in the backstage area going to talk with Bobby the Brain Heenan and his Brooklyn Brawler.
Bobby Heenan, we've just seen the footage that has led up to the signing of you against the Red Rooster in WrestleMania 5. Bobby, clearly you were provoked. Clearly you were justified in your retaliation. But I have this question. Why then is the Brooklyn Brawler going to take on the Red Rooster tonight on the main event? Could it be, Bobby, that you need to scout the Red Rooster just one more time?
There's nothing I need to know about the Red Rooster, Jesse. But there's a lot he needs to know about the Brain. You see, because this Red Rooster was a nobody when I found him, and he's still a nobody right now. And this man is bigger and a better nobody than that punk could ever be. You see, because the Brain can always find a bigger, better nobody than you are.
You must be real proud, Brawler.
Jesse, he's damn proud. And you're not going to let me down, are you? And you're not going to embarrass me, are you? Or you'll be back on those streets of Brooklyn walking them just like you were when I found you, right?
Don't worry, Mr. Heenan, I won't embarrass you.
You just do what I tell you, and you're going to be all right. Make a lot of money. Come on, move.
Ha ha! There's the body getting the scheme of the scam down again with good journalism. Could Okerlund do the same? Let's find out. Over to you, Mean Gene.
Well, as we go into that promo, we do get a quick clip down memory lane back to January when Bobby Heenan and the Rooster split up right here on NBC. And then Bobby hiring the services of Steve Lombardi, now the Brooklyn Brawler, to attack the Rooster on Primetime Wrestling. Bobby says he didn't need to get somebody worth a shit to defend his honor here tonight, so he just settled on the Brooklyn Brawler, who promises to listen to the Brain and do his bidding. Sounds confident enough? Let's hear from the other side now. Mean Gene Okerlund standing by with a real somebody. He's standing by with the Red Rooster.
With me at this time is the Red Rooster. Rooster, with your match against Bobby the Brain Heenan so near in WrestleMania 5, why go out tonight and risk injury against the Brooklyn Brawler?
First, Mean Gene, I'm not risking anything tonight against the Brawler because he's a nobody and I'm somebody. I'm the somebody that easily handled the Weasel Heenan in Tampa. I don't need Heenan to be somebody. I am somebody. I am the Red Rooster. And second, Gene, when I beat the Brawler tonight, I will be beating Bobby Heenan. And anytime you beat the Heenan family, you're beating Bobby Heenan. And I will beat Bobby Heenan every opportunity I get, starting here tonight and at WrestleMania 5.
All right, let's get back to the Brooklyn Brawler. He is streetwise, and he will resort to street tactics.
The last time he blindsided me with a chair. Well, in the ring, I have no blindsides, and in the ring, there is no chair. I am confident. I am somebody. I am the Red Rooster.
All right, Vince McMahon, I believe we've got a special treat in store for us tonight. We're going to see Bobby Heenan eat crow. Or should I say rooster? We'll see.
And with a straight face, Terry Taylor proclaims, I am somebody. I am the Red Rooster, followed by unbelievable on NBC. What the fuck are we doing here, guys? I guess you could consider this tonight's bad SNL sketch, since it is replacing the program here for the evening. But it's to the ring for our final match of the night. The Red Rooster taking on the Brooklyn Brawler. Terry Taylor coming for some revenge on Bobby Heenan, and even the Brooklyn Brawler there from the primetime attack. Now, after the commercial break, the entrances, the bell sounds, and we are underway. Both men coming right at each other. The Brawler actually winning the slugfest. Well, he is the Brawler, after all. Lombardi then clawing at the eyes of the Rooster, hammering away in the corner. But the Brooklyn Brawler even sidestepping a Rooster charge in the corner. But Terry Taylor putting on the brakes. And now it's the Rooster's turn to unload with a series of shots on the Brooklyn Brawler. Terry Taylor sticking it to Bobby Heenan as he delivers some basics here in the ring. A drop kick, hip toss, looking down at Bobby and mocking the Brain as the crowd approves. The Brawler trying for a backdrop here to turn the tide, but Taylor quickly countering into an inside cradle. Small package. Maybe he calls it his bucket of chicken. No matter, it gets the win. 1 minute and 4 seconds. Wow. What was the point of that? The match quicker than the promos. Probably for the best. But an inside cradle? Really? That's your definitive win over the Brooklyn? Even Terry Taylor looks shocked at the quick win. But he'll take it. Pointing at and once again mocking Bobby Heenan at ringside. The Rooster then crowing at the Brain, calling him out. Get in the ring, Bobby. Come show me what you got. And surprisingly, Heenan slowly walking up the ring steps and stepping into the ring. Is the Brain going to take on the Rooster right here, right now, before WrestleMania? No, it was a setup all along. From behind the Brawler, big clothesline to the back of Taylor's head, taking him down once again. Then from there, Bobby Heenan and the Brooklyn Brawler double teaming the Rooster, putting the boots down to Terry Taylor. But the Rooster begins to cock up, if you will, begins to fight back. Big knee lift takes Lombardi out of the ring. And Bobby Heenan wisely bailing, leaping over the top rope, running off. From ringside is the Brain as Terry Taylor clearing the ring and strutting his stuff. Literally, like a rooster. Now I see where the term chicken head came from. Bobby Heenan will live to fight another day, however, and that day will come April 2, pal, when he takes on the Red Rooster as part of WrestleMania 5. The storyline continues between Terry Taylor and the Brain. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Brawler looks to be not much more than an afterthought. As we take our final commercial break of the night, we come back in. A closing segment, we go backstage. Mean Gene Okerlund attempting to interview Randy Savage in the locker room, but the Macho Man, still irate from Miss Elizabeth's decision, begins tossing things all around the locker room, even inadvertently falling over himself here. Randy Savage tripping and falling here backstage, which turned out to be a perfect spot to put over just how mad the madness was right now. Macho, though, deciding that he doesn't need Elizabeth. He doesn't need anyone to beat Hulk Hogan. And then we head back to ringside, if you will. Vince McMahon, Jesse Ventura to take us home. Closing out the night here on Saturday night's main event, opening bout. Can't complain. Probably the best I've seen Brutus look out there at Rick Rude, of course, making it 1 for 1. Can he make it 2 for 2 when he takes on the Warrior at WrestleMania? Can he have 2 good matches in a row with 2 guys that aren't known to have very good matches? Meanwhile, it's all a setup for the big Jake Andre Stud showdown at the end of that matchup, so everybody gets a little play. Ted DiBiase showcasing his new $1 million belt right here on NBC with a nice solid win over the dazzling Blue Blazer. The Heenan family very much supported here tonight in the WWF storylines. Not only did we see Rick Rude, but we got to see the Brooklyn Brawler out here who didn't fare too well with Red Rooster. But Terry Taylor will continue his story with Bobby Heenan into the upcoming WrestleMania event. We also saw the Brainbusters out here. Unbelievable match for TV against the Rockers. No finish, unfortunately, but a hell of a match for TV. You got to take that into consideration. And of course, let's not forget Hulk Hogan avenging the honor of one Miss Elizabeth, scoring a pinfall victory over Bad News Brown. But Bad News getting to save face here. It wasn't the typical Hulk up. Hogan never took the Ghetto Blaster, thus he never kicked out of Bad News' finisher. And I really appreciate that in the storytelling, keeping some people strong when you don't need to bury them. Hogan usually takes down everybody, but not necessarily Bad News Brown, not in the same fashion. A little bit of a New Japan Hogan finish there as he hits that quick high knee into the leg drop, taking it home. But what a fun night. I mean, we're just 3 weeks out right now from WrestleMania 5. We've got more Grenade on the way before we get to WrestleMania, but it is right around the corner. Looking forward to calling that and hopefully having some conversations with some guests as part of that show. But right now we're going to talk about the ratings here of this particular Saturday night's main event, March 11th of 89. It actually ties two other pre-WrestleMania SNMEs, going back to the February 86 edition of Saturday night's main event prior to WrestleMania 2 and the March 88 edition prior to WrestleMania 4, all of them drawing 10.0 ratings, which are the fourth highest. They all tie for fourth highest rating in SNME history. The first being, imagine this, the March 87 WrestleMania 3 SNME, which has the highest rated Saturday night's main event. Now, we're only talking SNME here. We're not talking the main event, the live shows, the last we've done the last couple of years. But as far as SNME goes, Saturday night's main event, 11.6 was the March 87 edition of the program heading into WrestleMania 3, the big battle royal with Andre the Giant eliminating Hogan, etc. That drew an 11.6. The second highest ever rating, 10.6, a whole point down. That was the cage match we saw at the beginning of 87. Remember Orndorff and Hogan hitting the floor at the same time, continuing the match, January 3rd, 87 edition. So Saturday night's main event, two of their highest rated shows in the early part of 87, peak WWF there. The third highest rating goes back to January of 86, Hulk Hogan versus Terry Funk. And again, this episode, the March 89 edition, will tie with the March 86 and March 88 editions with a 10.0. So the fourth highest rated Saturday night's main event. Always a good rating going into WrestleMania, which is a good sign. But it's really going to be all about that buy rate, which we will be getting to soon. But for this week, guys, it's time to close up shop. I want to thank you all again for joining us here on the Grenade. Had a blast. I want to thank John Poz again for joining me over at the Ultimate Tier, calling the big ones of this edition of Saturday night's main event. If you enjoyed this, if you want to go back and watch it and listen to even more conversation, listen to John Poz's take, listen to our conversation as the show's happening live in front of us, you can go check that out right now. Patreon.com/WrestleCopia. Part of the big ones at the Ultimate Tier. You get so much there at the big ones. You get so much part of the Ultimate Tier. There's a price range from everybody from the All Access Tier to the VIP Tier to that Ultimate Tier. Just depends on what you want and what you got in your pocket. Guaranteed no matter which level you go, whichever tier you choose, you won't be disappointed. But we wrap up another edition of the big NBC extravaganza, the 20th installment, 20th edition of Saturday night's main event in the books. We'll be coming to you again with another one of these shortly after WrestleMania, when Hulk Hogan will battle the Big Boss Man inside a steel cage. Boy, that's going to be a hell of a match to call. Can't wait for that one. But for right now, guys, it is the road to WrestleMania continues on. So on the next episode of The Grenade, we continue on with the second half of March TV, the final episodes of WWF programming leading to WrestleMania 5. Cannot wait for that. But until then, it's time to say goodbye. So until next time, this is Ray Russell saying from pillar to post and coast to coast. You pull the pin, I'll pick up the pieces right here on the Wrestling Memory Grenade. I'll see you next week. Don't miss it. Be there!
I am confident. I am somebody. I am the Red Rooster.